Hello friends, Decent Eddie here. Week 11 worked out, hitting 88% of my moneyline picks, and I'm continuing to keep my head above water on the spread and over-under picks. Over-under picks are still pretty gross, but still. Please, hey, do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment if you want to, and remember, even if I've been doing this for about 20 years, please never take my picks or anyone else's on faith alone. Do a little bit of research before putting your money on anything, okay? Let's talk about Thursday's games and how the playoff picture is developing, because we do have some developments. We can start talking about it. First, though, the game. Bills versus Texans. This is a Decent Eddie confident moneyline pick for the Bills with an 11.5 differential in my data, where I'm about 67% correct in that range. The Bills are 5.5-point favorites with a 72% chance to win straight up in the market's opinion. The over-under, 43.5 points. This game hinges on one name, C.J. Stroud. More on that later. The Bills are coming off a massive performance where Josh Allen scored 6 touchdowns and dropped 44 points on the Buccaneers' heads, silencing some nagging doubts in Buffalo for now. Allen is on a rampage and is now facing a Texans team that is mastering mediocrity, winning or losing no more than 2 straight games all season. It's weird. The Texans' only hope is their defense. They are in the top echelon in my data's defensive metrics and have the lowest QB rating allowed in the NFL over the last 8 games. It is very possible that the Texans defense can make Josh Allen appear human, but like I said, Stroud, last I read, is still uncertain to play, still dealing with concussion symptoms. If Davis Miller is under center, even though he's 2-0 as a starter and threw for 274 yards last week, the Texans' excellent defense could eventually break against Allen. So, if Mills is in and Stroud is out, can Mills generate enough offense to keep pace if Buffalo scores over 24 points? The Bills might be back, we'll see, and the clock is ticking on their future Super Bowl prospects, so there's extra urgency on their side. The 5.5-point spread feels manageable for the Bills if Mills is at quarterback for sure for the Texans. So I'm taking Bills at 5.5 to cover the spread, and I'm taking the over 43.5 points. For the money line, I'm following the data. That means it's the Bills on the money line for me. So before I get into parlays, let's talk a little bit about how the playoff picture is developing after week 11. The big story, bar none, is that the Denver Broncos are your AFC number 1 seed at 9-2. I mean, I knew they'd be good when this season started, but I figured they'd be second in their division, and that's maybe about it, maybe a solid wild card spot. But no, I mean, they took down the Chiefs 22-19 with a game-winning field goal, which sort of officially ends the Chiefs' 9-year reign over the AFC West. Bo Nix showed up, throwing 295 yards. The defense forced a crucial red zone interception, holding Kansas City to just 19 points. The Broncos have won 8 consecutive games. They are official, and they are for real. And what about the Chiefs? Losing at the gun drops them to 5-5. And get this, they are currently out of the playoff picture, barring a complete AFC collapse of almost everyone above and around them. They're stuck behind the 6-4 Jaguars, the 7-4 Chargers, and even the 5-5 Texans and Ravens are right on their heels. It's kind of a mess. The Chargers are at 7-4 despite getting completely bludgeoned by Jacksonville, losing 35-6, and Justin Herbert being benched in the 4th quarter, which was wild. They're on a bye, and somehow they are still ahead of Kansas City. It shows you just how far the Chiefs have fallen in conference record tiebreakers. I'm 85% certain that the Chiefs' Super Bowl window was officially boarded up for the year, but I mean, who am I, right? All right, looking at the rest of the AFC, the Patriots are quietly sitting pretty at 9-2 with an incredibly easy schedule ahead of them. Only one opponent remaining above 500. They're in prime position to win the division for the first time since 2019, maybe even get the number 1 seed for the first time since 17. The Colts are 8-2 after beating the Falcons in Germany, but their schedule was very soft before that bye. The second half is much less forgiving, starting with a visit to the Chiefs. Well, who knows how that's going to turn out. And watch out for the 7-3 Bills, right? 6 touchdowns for Josh Allen in that shootout against Tampa Bay. They moved up 1 spot, but they are a major threat, even 1.5 games back from the Patriots. The real concern is in the AFC North. You got the 6-4 Steelers. They're holding on to that division title, but Aaron Rodgers is now dealing with a broken left wrist. If Rodgers can't go, I mean, bones are bones, right? It'll be Mason Rudolph stepping in. That injury, it opens the door for the 5-5 Ravens, who have won 4 in a row, to sneak in and win the North. which that's their best hope for the postseason. The Steelers' season, plain and simple, hinges on that wrist. Over in the NFC, it's much clearer at the top, but the wild card race is an absolute bloodbath. The NFC is a two-horse race right now between the 8-2 Eagles and the 8-2 Rams. The Rams are legit. They've taken down the 7-4 49ers, the 7-3 Seahawks in consecutive weeks. 4 Sam Darnold interceptions against the Rams defense is exactly why they look like the team to beat in the West. They're in the driver's seat, leading the Niners by a game with no games remaining against them. And the Eagles, well, I mean, they're a number 1 seed right now, and their defense looks terrifying. They held the Lions to just 9 points in that Sunday night game. They shut down Jared Goff and slammed shut all 5 of Dan Campbell's 4th down attempts. I mean, I personally, listen, I have a love for the Lions, but I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a coach, but that level of aggression from Dan Campbell, sometimes you got to use your head a little bit. If you're facing a championship level defense like what Fangio has, I mean, because look, by any stretch, the Lions, if they had just kicked 1 or 2 field goals, it's a whole different game. That loss drops the Lions from a 2 seed all the way down to the 8 seed, and that's how tightly packed this conference is. But the Lions are only 1 game back of the final spot, and a lot of writers seem to be giving the Lions a greater than average chance to make the postseason, largely because they're a much better team at home and still have to play the Packers and Bears again, who they think they can beat, and they probably can. I mean, this race is far from over, but the Lions have absolutely no margin for error left. The 7-3 Seahawks had a chance to jump ahead in the West, but threw it away against the Rams, literally, with those 4 interceptions from Darnold. They fall to the 5th wildcard spot. They, along with the 6-3-1 Packers and the 7-4 49ers, are all clinging to those wildcard spots. Brock Purdy is back for San Francisco, probably, I think, definitely, and they probably need him. The 7-3 Bears are a huge surprise, winning 7 of 8 after an 0-2 start, and currently sit at the top in the North. They'll get a weakened Pittsburgh team next week, which should help their chances, but I still need to see more from them against a top contender before I am a true believer, all right? The bottom line is Week 11 was transformative. The AFC has a new bully in Denver, and the NFC's biggest question is whether Dan Campbell learned his lesson about punting. We've got a lot of football left, but this playoff picture is pretty exciting. All right, parlays. So for Thursday night, if you take Josh Allen passing 175 yards, James Cook rushing 50-plus yards, and Nick Chubb rushing 10 or more yards, your win probability is about 54% using the market data. I will always endorse a 3-leg parlay with odds between -400 to -450, because if you do that, your odds are going to stay at or above 51%, which is what we want. Regardless of what you choose, I never recommend more than a 3-leg parlay due to the risks of combined probabilities. And remember, don't spend more than 10% of your bankroll in total across all your wagers in a day. Never chase losses, and if you need help with a gambling problem, check out my channel's description. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Hey, if you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, tap the bell, get my picks early enough to do your own research, which is vital. Follow me at Decent Eddie Picks on Instagram, Facebook, X, Decent Eddie Picks, spelled P-I-X. You can see me on TikTok. I'll post updated team grades there, which I just did. Any last-minute thoughts that I have, any end-game thoughts if I have them, but let's see what happens. This is Decent Eddie signing off. Have an awesome day.